Okay, namaste. Mr. Bossert here. We're going to talk about solving radical equations in this video. Make sure you put the date in your upper right hand corner of your notes, otherwise you'll lose points on your notebook check. I'm not going to name names, but you know who you are. Alright, so when we go to solve, we've seen this chart before. We're going to simplify by doing order of operations, and we solve by inverse operations. And the square root itself is a grouping symbol, so it comes along up here. It's about the last thing that we undo. So we've got to undo or isolate everything else on one side of the equal sign other than the square root, and then we know that's the half power, so I'm going to undo that by doing the inverse of half power, which would be squared, or the second power. Now this one is already kind of set for us, right? It is square root of v minus 4 equals 3. So this is the same thing as I could say v minus 4 to the half power equals 3. And the inverse of half power would be squared. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to square both sides. And what I learned in my last video is that when I multiply these powers, or these exponents, it's going to be v minus 4 to the first, which will just leave me with v minus 4 on this side. And over here, 3 to the second is 9. Now I've undone that, and then inside the parentheses, or the grouping symbol, is v minus 4, so we know I need to add 4 to both sides. So I can't add the 4 to solve initially because it's inside the square root. I've got to get to the square root, undo this part, and then undo the addition or subtraction. So it may be interesting for us to think of the v minus 4, the square root of all that, is it to the, in parentheses, to the 1/2 power, and solve that way. Here I have square root, but I also have plus -8 on the same side. So the first thing I need to do is isolate and get rid of the -8 by adding 8 to both sides. All right, and that will give me over here root 5a minus 5. So once this is the only thing, the square root's the only thing left on the side, you can now undo by squaring both sides. To give me 25 over here, and 5a minus 5 over here. And again, the square root and squared are going to cancel each other out, because the square root is a half power, square root is the second power, and those are inverse of one another. Go ahead and solve, add 5, divide by 5, you get a equals 6. Okay, I want you to try this one on your own, and come back when you have an answer. Inverse operations. Alright, again, just subtracting 10 to both sides. Isolates the square root sign. Square both sides, you get 10 m minus 1 equals 9. And add 1, divide by 10, we get m equals 1. Alright, so the application of this would be very obvious in that if we remember back to earlier Pythagorean theorem, any right triangle we can use a Pythagorean theorem where a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where a and b are the two legs and they can go interchangeably. But c is that hypotenuse, which is that side opposite the right angle. Or when you were little, you call it the longest side of the right triangle, which is true, but it is the side opposite the right angle. That's always C. A and B, you could use either leg. Especially in this one, it looks like this is isosceles right triangle, so they'd be the same. But again, the relationship is not between the sides, it's between the squares of the sides. All right. So we're going to use this. This one you probably know just by looking at it. This is not been a squiggly line. Let's pretend it's a straight line of the hypotenuse there. And so the two legs would be, if I if-smooth it, A would be 3, B would be 4. Yikes. Oh my God, what's happening there? B would be 4, C would be X, right? And so 3 squared plus 4 squared equals X squared. And so 9 plus 16, 25 equals X squared. Now, and I solve this equation. I'm going to square root both sides here. If you remember back a couple sessions ago, square root of X squared, when I write the square root sign in here, it's going to give me the absolute value of X. Square root of 25 is 5. So the answer is really plus or minus positive or negative 5. However, since this is a side length, right, the negative doesn't make any sense, and so we disregard it in this case. Right. And so X would equal 5. So we're going to apply the Pythagorean theorem here. Right. I prefer IFSMU here. So in this case, A is 2. B is 2, C is X. There we go. So 2 squared plus 2 squared equals X squared. 4 plus 4 is 8. Okay, so now, prior to this, you may have then put this in your calculator and square root of both sides, so the square root of 8. Let's see if I do it on my calculator over here. Square root of 8 is 2.828427125. Again, that's an irrational number. So when we square root both sides, now that we have this knowledge of how to simplify this, we're going to call 8, we're going to call that 2 root 2. And again, it would be plus or minus 2 root 2, but we know the negative is not going to count here. So the exact answer, not approximating, not getting a decimal, since it is irrational, is going to be this 2 root 2 number down here. For this one, we've got A is 3, B is 8, C is X. So we've got 3 squared plus 8 squared equals X squared. Alright, so 9 plus 64. 73 is X squared. X is going to be root 73. Again, plus or minus, but the minus doesn't make any sense here. And 73 can't be simplified, so that would be my exact answer. Alright, I'm going to have you try these 4, and we will come back with answers. Write your answers in simplified radical form. Exact answers do not approximate. Pause it and come back. Okay, so go ahead and solve this. These ones were different because here the hypotenuse C wasn't missing, one of the legs was. And so I chose to make this 2 squared plus X squared equals 5 squared. So 4 plus X squared is 25. Subtract the 4, you get X squared equals 21. So X is root 21. And then I probably should have the centimeters down here. So root 21 centimeters. And again, same thing here. So 4 squared plus X squared equals 7 squared. So X squared is 33. X is root 33. For this one, did you have not possible? There's no way to make this work here because this would have to be a 0. So this isn't a triangle. The hypotenuse has got to be longer than the sides. So therefore, we can't have this. And then for 6, X squared ends up being 32. So you got to simplify. Root 32 is 4 root 2. So 4 root 2 centimeters would be the answer for 6. We're going to do some more of these application and solving some radical equations. All right. Thank you very much.